Great to have you with us. Now, to begin with, the Electoral Commission is deploying 58,000 biometric verification devices for use in district-level elections tomorrow. Deputy Chairperson in charge of operations Samuel Tete is also cautioning voters to refrain from electoral malpractices. The election was scheduled to take place alongside the referendum to allow political parties to participate in future district-level elections. The referendum has been withdrawn, but Samuel Tete says all is set for the election of assemblywomen and men.
Voters register of all the 31,851 polling stations have been printed and dispatched to the various regions and districts. Biometric verification devices won't be used to verify voters in the elections. 58,000 BVDs have been refurbished and dispatched to the various regions and districts. The 58,000 includes backups, which would be used to replace BVDs, which would develop faults at the polling stations. In addition, well-trained technicians have been deployed to the regions and various zonal centers to provide technical support to the polling officials when necessary.
We stay on the subject, and the Coalition of Domestic Election Observers will tomorrow deploy 1,100 Election Day observers to monitor the district-level elections. This number includes 800 stationary and 300 roaming observers. Addressing a press briefing today, acting co-chairman of CODEO, Sheikh Arome Al-Shaibu, said the observers will be deployed across randomly selected polling stations and are expected to monitor the election.
For the 2019 district-level elections, CODEO will deploy about 1,100 observers, comprising 800 stationary polling station observers and 300 roaming observers on election day. To ensure that CODEO's information system are ready for election day, CODEO carried out 2 simulation exercises on Friday, December 13th, and Sunday, December 15th for all its observers.
Now, some members of the Trobu electoral area at Achimota here in Accra say roads and healthcare are key factors that will determine how they vote at the December 17 district-level elections. They say they will turn out in their numbers and vote for their local representatives in the process they see as equally important as presidential and parliamentary elections. Already, one of the candidates, who is the current assembly member, is getting rave reviews from residents over some developmental projects that is likely to determine how the residents will vote. Now, Komla Adum has been interacting with a section of the community members and joins us via phone with updates. Komla, you have been interacting with some community folk who have been citing reasons why they would not vote.
Well, Daniel, it's been a split, opinion poll here at the Trobu electoral area. Some of the individuals I spoke to a short time ago said they were going to turn up and vote because there were very serious needs that they wanted to have addressed, even though they see that electoral officials or assembly members are not directly in charge of getting them those amenities. They think that they can be able to help in terms of lobbying, etc., to get these facilities. And there's also the other school which says, they're not going to show up and vote because it's simply a waste of time. So they say they're going to go to their workplaces, continue their work as usual, and they're not going to, waste time turning out to joining to vote for the local, representatives here.
So, Komla, have you been able to engage some other candidates?
Daniel, yes, I have engaged one of the candidates who is the incumbent so far. He says he's confident he's going to win because he has brought in some, development projects of sorts. If you come to the Kingsby roundabout here in the Trobu electoral area, you would see signposts, of some of the candidates. I see Robert H.A. Champon is one of the, candidates here. Then the incumbent also has his billboard here, which, some of the projects he claims to have undertaken during his 4-year period. But I've been joined, Daniel, by one of the candidates. He is Robert H. Champon. He will be telling us briefly what his ideas are. Thank you very much, sir. Welcome to JoyNews. Now, the poll is just a few hours away. What message have you been sending to the people?
My message is simple. It's about educating the youth on social virtues.
Okay. And you think they have bought into this idea?
Yes, please.
Okay. And when you go to the poll tomorrow or after polls tomorrow and you do not win, would you be disappointed?
No, I'm surely I'll win.
You're surely winning. But there are other people in the community who are not young people, all right? They are the elderly and the aged. Now, if you are targeting the youth as the main idea or your main priority in this regard, what happens to the older people? You are leaving them behind, are you not?
That's why I say the old people should help the youth to educate their youth efficiently, effectively, and proper counseling for the betterment of their future.
Okay. Related to your campaign to give the youth a better future, etc., how are you going to get youth to shun those social vices we speak about? Drugs, games, betting, all these things. How are you going to ensure that the youth, shun these activities?
I'll do a forum that you educate them on that.
And you think that will be enough?
Actually, it's a time. We have to start from somewhere, then we end up with at a particular place.
All right, thank you very much. Daniel, I have just been joined by another of the candidates, Mr. Yeboah. He will also share with me briefly what his ideas are. Thank you very much. Welcome to JoyNews. Now, what ideas have you been sharing with the electorate and what have they been telling you?
Thank you very much, JoyNews. My idea is that we should come together and also to develop our electoral area, which is New Achimota, Mar 7, and then part of Fishpond. My vision is that all the youth and then the stakeholder, which is the residents association, we should all come together and then develop the area. What I am appealing to them is that we should get a good leader, because the problem we have here is the leadership. And then we don't need to waste time. When 4 years is very enough time, and then as a steward, we need to make a good use of the time. For that 4 years, we waste it, all the development is gone. Okay. So I'm appealing to my people, when they are going to vote on the tomorrow, which is on the 17th, they should vote for Remokopi Abua on the ballot paper, number 2 on the ballot paper. And I'm appealing to everybody, the youth, the citizens, the artisans, and everybody, they should vote for Remokopi Abua for proper development, and not development on the billboards and the other things. The development that we can see and testify, and then we can appreciate. That's what I'm feeling from my people and from Trouble, which is New Achimota.
Thank you very much, Mr. Yeboah. Now, Mr. Robert, your final word to the electorate?
I'll ask them, I'll plead with them that when they go to the pool, they should try and vote for Mr. Robert Champ on number 4. That's the aspect of hope.
Thank you very much. So, Donna, you had two of the candidates who are aspiring to lead this particular electoral area, Mr. Robert Champong and Mr. Kofi Yeboah. They've been speaking to me here.
Competition definitely seems keen. Thank you very much, Komla, for joining us with that. There's still a lot to talk about when it comes to the district level elections, which will take place across the country on Tuesday. Ghanaians will go to the polls to elect Assembly and Unit Committee members to steer the affairs of local assemblies for the next 4 years. Ahead of that, some of you have been sharing your thoughts with us.
Structure or the framework of our constitution and our government, you realize that we definitely need people from the scratch before we get to the top, and it is very necessary for us to vote people who are influential and we know can do the work to chair those functions for us. And I'm quite happy about how people have seen the need to enter into the district assembly election this time around. You see that it is a little competitive. All the same, I think most of them need orientation or education on what exactly the work entails. I think over the years, it's just about someone who is popular and then they give the vote to the person. It's not supposed to be so. It's supposed to be someone who is influential though, but knows what to do when he's given the mandate. That is one thing I would like to suggest. Although it is very close and we all know that the date is in this December, but surely I'm very, very sure that people who have entered and know what they are going to do, they definitely going to do the work for us. So that is why I think I also have to participate, because it is my right.
For me, I will surely take part in the elections, because I believe that we should develop our areas from the bottom to the top. That is the bottom approach. And over the years, we have seen development being at the top before coming to the bottom, which has made Ghana underdeveloped. So come Tuesday, I will surely go and cast my vote for whoever I think better work in my area, better develop my area in the interest of Ghana. I will do so.
Before any progress comes, it must start from our own home. Yes, our own home in this sense that development started from the beginning, the scratch. So when we want to develop, Ghana is set back because we forget the roots and we are just focusing on the fruit. That the roots are the ones that are providing the fruit. So when the roots are not developed, the country will not be developed. So the people that's supposed to be elected must be up and doing, must be hardworking, must be ready to innovate their local areas. Yes, and that is the main reason why I will take part in that 17th of this month, which is Tuesday, election. Yes, because together we have one Ghana, and together that Ghana is for us. So we must do it from the beginning so that at the end, one Ghana will be raised higher.
I will not be voting, I will not be taking part in this election because my vote is not in Upper West. So I think I need to be, or I should be part of the decision making of the country or the community in which I find myself. So my vote should really count a lot in choosing somebody who would be a leader in whichever community that I find myself.
Yeah, I will surely vote because I'm a Ghanaian. My vote is needed. I'll vote because I have my right to vote. I will say to the people that we are going to elect to keep to their rights because we trusted them by casting our votes to them. And they should also be true and to let us do the works together so that it won't be something that is imposed on us, but it's something we are doing together.
Yes, I'm going to participate in that. Yes, this is assembly election is about the community. How well the people in the community can mobilize themselves, mobilize their resources together, put their energies together, and develop the area concerned. That's why I must vote. Well, there are some challenges associated with the disease level voting. Here's the case that Assemblyman himself doesn't have the financial power to construct the roads, to provide the water, build all the schools. But if you have somebody who can liaise very well with the community, with the government, and even with NGOs, at least some development can come to the area. We have voted not purposely for the Assemblyman himself, but we want to see how best we can unite all our energies behind the Assemblyman to solicit support from the government, from NGOs, and even from within ourselves to better ourselves.
So live with JoyNews today with me, Daniel Daze. Still to come on the bulletin, call it trotro romance. The story of a couple running a trotro business as driver and mate will inspire you. Also in business, United Nations Development Program moves to support young entrepreneurs in Ghana to scale up their business operations. Stay with us. Welcome back. Now, pressure is mounting on governments to release ambulances procured for distribution to constituencies. The country of 29 million people is said to have only 55 functioning ambulances. The issue came up during the president's interaction with the media on Friday. President Akufo-Addo said he wanted distribution to start once government took delivery of enough ambulances for all constituencies.
The Minister for Special Development Initiatives, who's been responsible for bringing them, told me about a month, 6 weeks ago, that some of the ambulances were in, should she distribute it? And I said no, she shouldn't. She should wait till they all come in. So one day we can distribute them all at the same time to all 275 constituencies. I saw myself getting into a tremendous amount of issues if you started distributing some and others didn't get it. Fortunately for us, all of them will be in by the end of this month. 160 odd are already in, and the balance on the high seas will be here by the end of the month. The 300 will be there. On the 6th of January, I will commission them, and then the distribution will take place simultaneously across the country. And
now, National Chairman of the Coalition of NGOs in Health, Gabriel Benaku, joins us via Skype. Mr. Benaku, you have heard the President. What are your views?
Yeah, good afternoon to viewers and everybody in Ghana. Yes, we have heard the President, His Excellency, with his explanation. Yeah, it is okay for him as the #1 in the country to explain, but I'm not sure this is the good representation of what the people want. And we would like to differ from his position that if he could immediately allow those ambulances to be distributed. We keep on having problems at the district level, especially the newly created districts. And we need to respond to them. And if I may want to quote from His Excellency when he was the presidential candidate, their manifesto, he talked about making sure that there will be efficiency in the use of limited resources prudently. And I don't think that these facilities that have been there for over 3 months are being used judiciously or prudently. They are rather adding more cost to the procurement processes. And I'm sure when you leave a vehicle for 1 month, 2 months, when you go back for the vehicle, you need to do some maintenance. And all these things could have been used for other consumables for the health sector. So it is not in the good faith of majority of Ghanaians that we should allow all ambulances to come before we do the distribution. So I would like to differ, and I would like to beg him on behalf of civil society in the health that we have heard him, but we are pleading him to be able to dispatch them immediately because we need them immediately.
Now, Mr. Benaku, will your coalition be making formal representation to the President on this matter?
Yeah, I know he is a listening leader. He has always done it, and we expect that this time around he will do it. He had done it for referendum recently, and in fact, the coalition issued a statement that the referendum should be put on hold, and he did it. And I know that my good father will do an honor to listen to what Ghanaians and civil society are saying, that he should immediately allow those ambulances to be put on use, and then we get the rest. Then we can do it because Ghana have always done distribution equitably. We have the data that is showing what is happening at the district level. I'm sure if we call about 70 districts right now, we should be able to distribute this one to those critically in need. And we have the data, and we think that he will listen to. If he consults the Director General and the Minister, I'm sure they are going to give him a very good list of vulnerable districts that need emergency consumables, including the ambulance services, immediately. So we plead that we understand his point, but we think that he should do it better.
Thank you very much, Gabriel Benaku, for joining us. He is the chairman of the National Coalition of NGOs in Health. Now, Gabriel Benaku is not the only one who disagrees with the president's position on this matter. In fact, Mr. Akufo-Addo has been criticized by some Ghanaians who took to social media to show their disagreements. Let's take a few of those messages now. Suleiman Abrahima, who is the executive director for the Media Foundation for West Africa, puts up the hashtag release the ambulance now. Now, this particular hashtag has been making rounds on social media. Mami Sewa commented on Facebook. She said, I said no because you have an emergency response unit on standby for you, your family, and your appointees. No problem. I even recommend you to keep those ambulances for yourself. Your sector minister says you are fixing trackers. That's why it's delayed. And now this is what you're telling us. It should be there for the election year because you use your salaries to procure them. I thought the Vice President said some time ago that they are to digitize the ambulances, and that's why they haven't been distributed yet. At least distributes the available ones so that it saves lives in some parts of the country than none. At the end of the day, we all know why it hasn't been distributed. David Mensah says, in fact, I'm ashamed for you. Knowledge is knowing what to say, and wisdom is knowing when and how to say it. Now, away from that story, the Fulani community in Asante Mampong and Nsuta area in Ashanti region says its members are living in fear after 22 nomadic herdsmen were allegedly killed by unknown assailants in the latest incident. 3 herdsmen were found dead in the bush about 2 weeks ago. National Secretary of the Association of Fulanis, Yakubu Musa Bari, says all such incidents have been reported to the police, but no arrest has been made yet. The leadership has been interacting with government officials, community leaders, and herdsmen in various communities over the matter. My colleague Nana Sensumenza has more in this report.
At a meeting with interest groups and individuals at Asante Mampong, Alhaji Barry called on the Municipal Security Committee to intervene to arrest the worrying trend.
The national security about this issue, because it's becoming a security threat across the country, not only in the Fulani community. If a Fulani man's cow enters a farm, then it ends up that you kill the Fulani man or you kill the animal. You did not solve the problem. You did not solve the problem. Call the Fulani man. Let's dialogue. Let's sit down and see how best we can solve the problem. So that tomorrow when it happens, you know the channel, the Fulani man will know the channel that he will take. But the moment a Fulani man's cow just entered the farm, you see somebody shooting the animal or shooting the Fulani man. You have not solved the problem. So we are pleading to all stakeholders to come on board. Let's look how we will be dialoguing. Let's form a committee across where the Fulani settlers are, so that when an issue comes, it's not about killing. Human beings, you can't pass a judgment by yourself just because I've wronged you. Have you never wronged somebody? The thing that I did, that you shot me, in your life, haven't you done worse thing than what I did to you and you shot me dead? But you are living. So let's see how best we can solve problems than killing or fighting.
Alhaji Barry proposed a joint task force of police, herdsmen and the locals to constantly patrol the area to ensure confrontation between herdsmen and the farmers does not escalate.
Most places we have been going around the country about this very issue. The main problem that we Fulanis in Ghana are facing is those nomads that comes in, because we don't know them. So this is the measures that now we are going. Even the day before yesterday, we are at Naneru. The same issue came out. So we are trying to form a task force combined with the security so that they will help us. We can't stop them not to come to Greece, because if I'm in my house and I'm hungry and I want to go out and you say I will not go out, there will be confrontation. I must go to find where I will feed. So we can't. The law has given everybody the right to move even with the animals. I think you get me. But we must put a regulation, have a database where the security and the indigents and the Fulani herdsmen who know those people should be controlled.
Municipal Chief Executive Thomas Apiakubi, who chairs the Security Committee, explains steps are being taken to ensure peaceful coexistence between locals and the herdsmen whilst police investigation continues.
So we are making our efforts, ensuring that the security patrols. I was just discussing this with my municipal commander about the patrols and the swoops that they have made over the week. We are trying to protect our people and we are trying to protect our property. And that is not to say that we are going to maybe harass anybody in a way that is not legal. Whoever has committed any crime is not going to go scot-free. The police will handle the person and the person will be taken to the necessary legal formalities that the person is supposed to pass through.
For Joy News, Nana Asensumensa, Asante Mampong.
Now, his income was, as a driver, was insufficient to sustain his family, and his wife's local gin venture also collapsed along the way. This meant they had to come together to operate a trotro business to cater for their family. That's the story of 55-year-old Edward Ama and his 42-year-old wife Evelyn Ajele operating a trotro business together as driver and mate for the past 5 years. JoyNews' Henry Kwesi Bedu visited the community at one of the bus terminals here in Accra and has more.
Meet Edward Ama Ago and his wife Evelyn Ajele Ejeyi, who work together as driver and maid. They ply the La Chado and Kwame Nkrumah Circle route here in Accra. Edward has been working as a commercial driver for over 30 years. And throughout the period, finding a trustworthy conductor was always difficult.
I realized that the conductors were stealing from me. Some of them sometimes absconded with my daily sales.
He therefore decided to recruit his better half in 2014. He knew it would be tough for Evelyn in the beginning, considering the fact that the job was a male-dominated one.
My wife got worried about my frustrations and decided to join me in the business. We had children to feed, and it would be unsustainable to deal with dishonest conductors. Having her as my conductor was a good move because business has improved since then.
Having no option as an unemployed lady after her petty trading business collapsed, Evelyn took a shot at being a conductor of her husband's 207 Benz vehicle.
I used to be a trader at Nsawam, the children in school, but the sales were bad, not enough to fend for the family. So I decided to join my husband in his business. He was skeptical at first, but I had to convince him enough to give me a try one day when his conductor was unavailable.
Business After that day, he decided to keep me on the job. I know what I wanted, so I was determined to pursue the vision to support our children to get a better future.
She tells me her gamble has paid off.
They say what man can do better. Because of that, as I said, because of me pursue, and I still am forcing still. Because no some man force me future be me. And I mean to me future better.
This vehicle was procured for my husband by his sister on a work and pay basis. At the time, the money was huge, so I had to help him to defray the cost. I used to leave the children to work and visit them on weekends after striving for days on the job. That is how we paid for the car.
Never mix business with pleasure, they say, but the couple, however, admit the bond between them has grown stronger since they started working together.
The love has grown even stronger because we always see each other. There is also transparency in our financial dealings.
We need 100% of love. We have agape love.
They now have 5 children, and they tell me taking care of them financially has never been a burden.
She's always by my side. I'm confident that as long as she continues to support me, we shall succeed together.
Because of
their colleagues as well as passengers who frequently board their vehicle say they are impressed with their work.
I have worked with him for years. He's diligent at his job, and his wife is very respectful and hardworking. Some of the conductors are very disrespectful, but she's different. I'm also encouraged to bring my wife into the field.
Becoming business partners as a couple could be difficult for many, but Edward and Evelyn, working together in what is seen as a family business, could be the key to creating a better future for their children. Henry Kwesi Bedus reports for Joy News.
Inspiring indeed. It's now time for business with Daryl Kwao. Stay with us.